Here's another go at telling you all of my business, but anyway here we go. So I used to go on POF a lot a while back. Yep, you guessed it. Plenty of fish. I would be talking to multiple women at one time trying to maximize my chances of hooking up with a woman, because I guess the ladies on there, as in life in general, have some sort of attention deficit thing when it comes to us men, so you really have to work to keep their attention. I would be talking to a lady, and of course you'd see someone else's profile and want to hit her up too. I guess I'm the one with the attention deficit, but anyway. Plenty of Fish was funny about that because it seemed to stifle my conversations with women, especially the more I would talk to, and it seemed like just when I'm about to reel the fish in, get it? Plenty of fish? Okay, but anyway, the site seemed to even slow down my messages or just not send them at all. I also got kicked off of there a lot and had to make another profile a lot just to get back to work on getting with these internet garden tools, if you know what I'm saying. Just kidding. Garden tools have multiple uses. I'm just joking. I couldn't resist. But I met this little petite German lady on there that was into black men. She was much older than I was and still looked good. She was like 20 years older than me. She had long legs and a nice slim figure and a nice firm backside. I talked to her for days and she finally wanted to meet up just to see what's up. Turns out the pictures that I would put online did me no justice, because she wasn't really feeling how I looked in the pictures, but said I was very handsome in person. I did that on purpose. I always used the most unflattering pictures so that when we meet in person, the woman would find me more attractive in person, and this worked a lot in my favor using this tactic. One time, a few females at my job recognized me on there and other sites, so I went to using pics of dudes that looked like me, but they weren't quite as good looking as I was, and not to say that I was so handsome. I was okay looking, but the guy's pics that I used definitely were strategically picked so I would look better than him. So there's no telling just how much booty it cost me on the other side, seeing that a lot of women didn't mess with that guy in the profile pic that wasn't me, but probably would have effed with me for real. I won't say her name, but we'll just call her Nancy. She had her own townhouse on the nicer part of a bad city that we were in, and she invited me over after we talked, as mentioned. She had on a sundress and she was heavily tanned and was looking oh so good to me. So sensual. That kind of older, mature female that a younger guy sees and thinks he can't get with her, but she was kind of on the crazy side, and we got along very well because I'm a fucking comedian at heart. Anyway, she was smoking one of her little Capri cigarettes, and after she let me in, I guess she had already decided that she was going to give me some, because she went and laid in the bed and got under the covers and took her sundress and started doing something with it to make for better access, if you know what I mean, Jean. I got the picture and took my clothes off and laid next to her. If she sees this, she'll definitely know that I'm talking about her because it's pretty specific, but I laid next to her and started kissing her and looked at her to make sure, and I climbed on top of her to try to get things going, but she just laid there and tightly shut her legs so I couldn't do anything at all. I was dumbfounded and thought that maybe I was missing something, and I indeed was. You might say it's a rubber, but oh to the contrary. I'll get to the point. She just laid there with her legs tightly shut and was looking at me with this look on her face, and finally she was like, "We aren't doing anything until you do something else first." I was relieved because I am all about performing cunnilingus on a sexy lady, and that was all that she was waiting for. I wish she would have just said that because I was confused. Once I did that, it was on and popping from then on out. We kept meeting at her place. Her biracial son, who was about my age or a little older, would seemingly call while I was there a lot, and I got to hear her speak fluent, hardcore-sounding German, because to me that language just sounds harsh, no offense. Hitler. Don't at me, brah. I remember one time he got mad once he found out that she was messing with a younger black guy, and he heard me call her by her nickname, and he was upset that I used that name like I had no right to, but it was her screen name and that's how I referred to her, and that's what she answered to whether we were in bed or just talking on the phone. Anyway, I told you that this lady was sexy as I don't know what to me, but she was a little weird, but aren't we all? I would come over and she would make me get in the bed and wait for her to put on a Clarence Carter, Al Green, or Barry White record, and she would literally blow me to the beat and I guess rhythm of the song and stop and get up and repeat and climb back in the bed and keep on going over and over and over again, and man, she was cute while doing as I would sit there watching her in almost bewilderment. But of course a brother ain't gonna stop her from doing what she has to do. She had these long legs, and when we did the missionary position, I guess this was her least favorite position with me because she figured out one of my little sexual quirks. She could make me almost climax on command when she would spread her legs out wide in the air while we did that position if I got a little long-winded and she was ready to stop. It was the weirdest thing. Like some sort of trigger, and if she sees this video, she definitely knows that I'm talking about her, but I ain't gonna tell you her name because that's none of your stinking business. I'm surprised I never got cancer of the penis because she smoked those Capri cigarettes and would go down on me and blow smoke down there, and I don't know why I let her do that, but I never stopped her. But I hope she never ended up with cancer of the vagina, if you know what I mean. I need to contact her so I can ask her about that. She was one of my best hookups because of our age difference and her weirdness, and I always and still do have a thing for older women that keep themselves up, whether it's genetics or lifestyle or a combination of both, and she definitely was an example of that. Because of her advanced age, I'm sure that I didn't get her pregnant, so that's a good thing.